Satnam Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. And it looks like I'm live and my mic is on. Everything is going. Okay, great. So if you could put down your human design type, if you want to, in your astrology information, that would be great. And hopefully you're doing well. It's tomorrow is the new moon, so we're going to really feel this Aquarius energy, this Pluto moving into Aquarius. And then the Chinese New Year is coming in, and that's the dragon. So that's fire energy. So things will be really starting to take off tomorrow. I'm actually feeling a shift in the energy. Maybe you are too. You could write it down if you are. And so I just want to remind people of this. Okay. So everything is changing. Our whole approach to there we go. Our whole approach to life has to change, right? So we moved from Pluto and Capricorn right here. Whoops. Pluto and Capricorn. Let me get my thing here. There we go. Pluto and Capricorn. That was there since 2008. And if you're on my newsletter, I wrote about a little bit about this in terms of our relationships, right? Have changed. They're and we're really in this theme, like the new moon I talked about, the 49th gate, and it's about aligning yourself with people who share the common principles or values, right? So we're moving out of this very karmic phase in terms of the people that we were with. If you reflect on your relationships since 2008, have been very, very karmic, right? And this was like the speeding up of karma so we could pay off that debt, right? So now we've moved into Aquarius. Now it's gonna scoot back. Pluto will scoot back in the fall for a couple months in Capricorn, but then it's gonna move into Aquarius for the next 20 years. So everything is shifting, especially our relationships. Okay, so well, how do we have to approach life then? Well, Pluto and Capricorn was all about time, right? Time. It was very linear. Saturn rules Capricorn, right? It's the goat. There's the goat. It's all about the old traditions. It's about how your parents did life, how your grandparents did life, and on and on and on. It's very, very slow moving. Well, now with the new moon is really going to like get the fires going under for Pluto and Aquarius. We're really going to feel what this new world is going to be, right? So Pluto and Capricorn, the old ways heading for the iceberg. It's not going to work anymore. You may have been noticing that already. So like a Capricorn, so let's say um, in terms of your human design types, some opportunity comes up, and then your mind, your not self, goes into, well, I'll go back to school. That would be a typical Capricorn thing to do, right? Pluto and Capricorn. I'll go to school for 5 years, and then you've got the plan, and then I'll get, right? Because Pluto is like, you do this work, and then you get, right? And then I've got lots of time to do that. I've got 5 years, and then, right? And this isn't going to work anymore because time is complete. We're moving at a time, and we're moving more and more into the present now moment. So this is Pluto and Aquarius. So this is no planning in the Capricorn sense of the word. We don't know what the world is going to look like next year. Imagine, go back even to 2020, right? You could have never imagined that this would be the world that we're living in now. Like go back to 2019, right? We don't know. We don't know. Because Aquarius is unexpected. It's the unexpected. So for this, right, in terms of planning and linear, and I'm going to be strategic and I'm going to climb up that mountain and then I get, and it's like, no, that's not going to work anymore. But Pluto and Aquarius is like the unexpected things will just pop up, right? Unexpected. Maybe it started with me. I have been experiencing that in my life, especially in this last month. Things just pop up, right? So what you do, you're in the now moment. Unexpected things come up. You have to be flexible. You can't be the Titanic. You've got to be the boat, right? The speedboat. You got to be the speedboat for Pluto and Aquarius because things are moving really, really fast. So one thing to know, I mean, I could do a whole video just on this, a webinar actually, but I'll just give you the main points here, is the solutions, right? Aquarius is all about finding solutions, but your solutions are found in the now moment, right? They're not from other people, right? Your solutions don't come from other people. They're coming from deep inside you. Yes, the solutions may be reflected by someone actually articulating what's going on inside you, right? So just trust there's a way through every block. That's one of the sutras for the Aquarian age, right? So when things come up, don't go into Capricorn. I need more qualifications. I need to go and talk to an expert. It's like, no, I will figure it out as I go, right? The skills will come to me. The information will come to me. Everything I need will come to me as needed, as long as I stay in the present now moment, right? That's Pluto and Aquarius. But I'll remind you guys in my videos about this. Anything else about that? Yeah, so we're really going to see it. We're really going to feel it tomorrow. Okay. So I want to talk about Chiron here. Okay, and Chiron. In this conjunction that's happening. So this is for February the 16th. I think it's the 16th. Anyway, this is the chart for February the 16th. Okay. 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 So this is the astrology chart here. I'm getting lost on the dates. That's another thing that happens with Pluto in Aquarius time, right? It's either the 16th or the 19th, right? But anyway, we're feeling this now, like even now today in this very moment, you can see that Chiron and the North Node are coming together really, really closely. But this is the exact conjunction, right? Here, 16 degrees, 45 minutes. So why is this important? And why should we care about it with human design? If you study the human design system, sometimes you can get the chart with Chiron in it if you have special software, but just your normal Jovian archive chart, you're not going to get Chiron. But Chiron has a very important role to play in human design. So human design, let's say your Chiron is in the 22, it won't be activated in your chart. You won't see it in the chart, right? So it doesn't count in that way in terms of your rave chart, but it's really, really important in the human design system. So why is that? Well, we have to go to the 6-line profile, right? So if you're a 6-line profile, and how you know is you're going to see the 55.1 in the sun position there. It's going to be a 0.6, right? Or your red side in your natal chart will have a 0.6. That makes you a 6-line profile. And if you're a 6-line profile, you have to be subscribed to this channel, right? So do that right now. As soon as you find out your 6-line, I need to have this information that I'll be sharing every week, right? So the 6-line profile. So what does that have to do with Chiron? Well, you go through 3 stages in your development, 3 stages. Now, why the 6 lines are so important is because they're role models for this new age that we're entering into. So they're the role models, but they go through the 3 stages, the 0 to 30, the 30, the 50, and then the 50 and onward, right? So they're kind of different people in all these 3 stages through their evolution. So they're role models. It means they're canary in the coal mine. They're canaries in the coal mine. They go first, right? But what they're doing is they're being a role model for all the rest of us that have to go through these stages, right? Have to go through these stages. So the 50, right? That's when the Chiron return comes, right? That's when the Chiron return comes for most people. Now, it depends on your natal chart. It can come sooner, but you're going to feel this energy as a 6 line like as early as 45, you'll start to feel it, right? And it's very, very intense. And people that don't follow this stage, because they're here to come off, it's called come off the roof, come down off the roof, come into the world as yourself, your authentic self, right? So if you're trying to be Miss Fakery wearing a mask after 45, you'll get called. And I know that's harsh, but it's true. So cold means that you get wiped out, basically, right? You'll manifest some illness. I've heard lots of stories of this with the six lines. They didn't make it. They were stubbornly clung on to things that no longer serve their evolution, like refusing to grow and evolve, basically, right? So they get cold. But if you make it through, then you have this incredible, it's like your life really opens up, right? After 45 onward, the rest of your life. So you really got to be flexible, right? So it fits with this Pluto and Aquarius energy. But we all have to go through this process. And what after the Chiron return, it's your lived experience, right? Your lived experiences, all those experiences you've had prior to 50, that becomes your wisdom, right? So six lines are very, very wise because it's earned, right? They gathered their wisdom not because they went to school and they learned a lot of facts and figures and right. No, their wisdom comes from their own lived experiences, right? Life is their teacher, right? Life is your teacher, and this is what we're all learning. Okay, so this is why Chiron is important in human design, and the six lines are important in human design. So pipe up of your six line profile. Okay, so Chiron is coming closer here into the North Node. So I just want to talk about the collective first before I get into the human design types. Okay. So, so we've got this. So this is Greenwich Mean Time. I've calculated this. And so this gives us information about the collective. Okay. So what do we see here first is it's in the seventh house. So Chiron represents our wound, our wounding, right? Our greatest wound. Okay. So it's you have your own personal natal wound, but I'm gonna go over the transit, right? The transit as it applies to your type. So with this, it's in the seventh house. So it's look, more relationship stuff, right? More relationship stuff. And we're moving from the south node. This is the first house in Libra, leaving that behind. And remember that that's the 57, right? That's the south node. That's what we're leaving behind, and we're moving into the 51, right? That's for the collective. So right here, so 57, this is fear of the future, right? The 57's here off the spleen. So fear of the future, fear will I survive, right? And then jumping into the seven. And what do we meet? Our greatest wounding when it comes to our relationships. So this isn't just your romantic relationships. This is all your relationships. It's the other, it's the mirror. So there's a lot of wounding here to face, right? So do you see how this is set up? Like Chiron is like a portal, right? It's a portal and it's connected to the 51. Look at the 51 right there. This is the willpower center in human design. So the 51, that's shock, right? So these are like the Aquarian, right? The Aquarian, expect the unexpected, expect the unexpected. And then you're being called to not do the fight, flight, or freeze. That's the shadow, is to see this as a portal. It's like there's a portal that's opening for you so that you can jump through, and evolve and grow and awaken. That's what awakening is, right? That's the gift here, right? Is the city, and the initiation is the gift. So initiating. So this is what Here we are, the portal's opening, the unexpected is there. Are you going to jump through the portal? Or are you going to freeze and go into the shadow and fear shock and go back to your self node as a collective? And it's like, no, I'm too scared. I'm too scared because I won't survive. I won't survive. I don't believe in myself. Whatever it is, right? It's Libra. So you end up staying with the wrong relationship, self node Libra. This is about just trusting, right? Just jumping into the unknown. And what you're jumping into is that 25, right? That 25. And this is acceptance. Acceptance is universal love. It's self-love, right? So this is what you're jumping into. But there's no safety nets. Like you can't see the safety net here. Okay, so Chiron is there, right? So that makes sense. So there's the wound. There's the wound that you have to face, your deepest wounding. Um, but so Chiron, if we know just quickly the story of Chiron, Chiron in mythology was Kronos, Saturn, right? Saturn was chasing his mother. Well, what was her name? Philera. And Philera didn't want anything to do with Saturn. Saturn always gets what he wants, and he was chasing her, and he's like, she's not interested in him, right? So she shifted into a horse, and so he did the same. He shape shifted into a horse, and she didn't know, and then he made it with her, and then they created Chiron, right? So Chiron comes through, and he's a uh, half. We can see up here, right? Half horse, right, from the bottom down, and then he's got the male torso and the male head. So he's half mortal, half human, right? Half human and half animal. So this is like our animal nature. There's three parts to us: animal, um, angel, and human, right? So this is why it's the mother wound. This is why my online retreat, I've renamed it the Chiron wound because it really expands. It's deeper than the mother wound, and I think it's really misleading for people that it's not about, oh, I have to forgive my earthly mother and so that I can move on. No, this is an ancient spiritual wound. This is our spiritual wound. This is leading to our awakening. So that's why I feel it's really important for us to embrace with moving more and closer to 2027. Okay, so back to Chiron. So Chiron was discovered, and remember the planets. Yes, they're outer objects, right? They're objects, but they're also a reflection of our consciousness. Now, did Chiron exist, right? Did Chiron exist before we found it? Yes, it did. But our consciousness has to be ready to receive it, to receive it. So that was 1977, and this was the big movement, the New Age movement. This is when the inner child work started to come, right? This is Chiron. This is our healing. And Chiron is a bridge between Saturn and Uranus. And these are the two that we're really in right now, right? With the Aquarian age and the cross of the sleeping phoenix coming. So Uranus is the great awakener, the liberator, right? And Saturn rules time, right? Capricorn, time and the structures on this planet. And they're all starting to break down because Saturn is losing its grip on planet Earth. And Uranus is playing a big part of that, right? So there's these two energies inside of us. Saturn wants everything to be the same, right? I just want everything to be the same, the status quo, the pyramid system, the hierarchies. And Uranus is like, let's just blow that all up, right? Let's be free. Let's be liberated. So these two energies are at work inside of us too. But the bridge is Chiron, right? And the bridge, and this is facing our deepest wounding, is our deepest wounding. So it's not about getting all doom and gloom about this. This is our alarm clock. This is a blessing that we actually have this, right? So when your Chiron wound starts to come, and it will this year, will start to surface more and more. It's a calling. It's a calling for you to come to your spiritual journey, right? So I'll explain a little bit how that works when I get into the types. So Chiron, back to the story of Chiron. So Chiron was rejected by his mother. That's his first deepest wound. She thought he was a monster and repulsive to her, right? So she abandoned him. And then the sun god Apollo took Chiron under his wing and taught him the healing arts, right? Alternative medicine. He taught him astrology, philosophy. So he became very, very wise, like a wise teacher, Chiron. But then he got shot in the side by an arrow from Hercules, a poisonous arrow, and he suffered and he couldn't heal himself. He had all these gifts of healing, but he could not heal himself, right? So, what happened here, and let's go into who is healing Chiron. Chiron's in his cave, right? So he did trade places with Prometheus to to let go of his immortality. He traded places with him, his destiny, so that he could die because he's suffering, 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 but he can't die. It's this rock in a hard place, right? But who healed Chiron is this, right? So this is Charlico right here. So this is Chiron's wife. Chiron's wife. So she's also a centaur. So she wasn't found until 1997, right? That's when she came on the scene. That's when she was discovered, when we were ready to see her. And she's the divine feminine, right? She's the DF. She's the divine feminine. And he's the divine masculine. So these energies are coming back, right? These energies are coming back. Um, and she was founded, this is such hilarious, February 14th on Valentine's Day, 1997. So Chiron was able to heal through her, through the divine feminine. So this is on, and I don't have the discovery. This is like for my online retreat, but the discovery chart is really fascinating what it looks like. And she's got the 25 and he has the 51. Chiron has the 51. She's got the 25. So these two join together. And this is the channel of initiation, right? So she's providing that 25, that complete acceptance, unconditional love, right? She's the muse. She's like graceful spinner. That's what I call graceful spinner. And so this is what we need, right? This divine feminine, the divine feminine to really come in, like the real divine feminine, not the projection of the wounded masculine, right? So these two energies are coming in strong. So more relationship stuff, right? More relationship stuff. And you can see at the same time, look at Venus and Mars, they're conjunct. And look where they are, 41.3, 41.4. And if you know about human design, this is the start codon. So this is a new start for our relationships. That's what I see here. And also Jupiter is squaring. So Jupiter squaring Mars and Venus, and that's about beliefs. So our beliefs about relationships have to change. They're changing, they're squaring. And Charlico is also, what is she also doing? She's trining the self node. So she's helping us to let go of this fear, right? Fear of what will happen to me tomorrow. Yeah. And Charlico is squaring Jupiter and Uranus, so unexpected. So these are the unexpected people that may appear in your life. These are like, oh, I would never be in a relationship with this kind of person or with that kind of culture or that kind of education. And it's like that's all going to be blown out of the water because it's about soul now. It's Aquarius. It's about joining and connecting with other people that are different, right? It's ruled by Uranus, the quirky, the individuals, the unique people, right? This is what we're coming to terms with. So you've got to let go of all the Capricornian stuff. And that comes from our ancestors, passed down from our ancestors. So it's a really exciting time, right? It's all about staying open, like open-minded, letting go of your beliefs, right? Beliefs about what relationships are and what they should be. And all of our conditioning, right? Pluto and Aquarius is about letting go of all of our conditioning. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the tarot. Can't forget the tarot. So the 51, so there's Chiron, and this is the tarot card. And remember, this isn't picked intuitively. This goes with the Aquarius degrees of Chiron and the 51. So this is the Three of Wands. So you remember the two, if you know the tarot, there's the Two of Wands, and he's kind of choosing. He's choosing oh, I have all these options. Well, the Three of Wands is saying, I've made my choice, right? So this is the 51. I've got my hand on the wand and I'm ready to jump, right? I'm ready to take that jump. I'm prepared, right? I'm prepared to go. And this is about expansion, like huge expansion, right? So what's stopping is the shock, right? The fear of shock. Can I handle it? Right? Can I initiate? Will have support? Like all of those questions that come up, right? And then there's Charlico, and she's in the 13. Look at her tarot card. This is about moving away, right? Moving away out of rough waters, right? Just moving away, moving. I'm just walking out of my life, basically, my life, how it's been, especially since 2008. I'm moving into that portal, right? So there she's helping you to heal that, right? To heal this wound about fear of a shock, fear of what will happen to me tomorrow, right? To release that through complete unconditional love of yourself, right? And that you are supported by the divine. So it's really a rite of passage. So you can see how this initiation is happening, right? In this month, especially February. And letting go of all the baggage, letting go of all your relationship baggage, all the hurts and the pains from your past relationships. They were karmic, right? Karma is being paid, right? So now it's time to start fresh in your relationships and be excited about what you're moving towards, right? What you're moving towards. So these two energies are really helping us. Okay. So much to share and probably forgot a few things, but I'm going to trust. Okay. Oh, there's Charlico there. The only image that I could find. So she's a shaman, right? She's the healer. Charlico is the one that heals Chiron. That's how powerful she is. And of course, she's been invisible for so long, right? But now we're ready for the emergence of the divine feminine. Okay, so there's the portal, right? There's the Chiron wound. This is and it depends on your natal, right? On your natal chart, what your deepest wounds are. And that's what I go into in the Chiron online retreat, like your personal chart. So this is anxiety, money, people pleasing, all this kind of stuff, right? Victim stories, whatever it is, whatever's stopping you from going into that portal. But usually it's this. Like I said in my newsletter, that our whole world is set up to avoid facing this pain because there's so much power in this pain, and there's so many gifts in this pain as well. It's the wounded healer. So it's you being initiated into your spiritual gifts. You were born at a certain time, a certain place. There's no coincidence that you were born at this time to help people transition into this new age. So these are the healers and the teachers and the life coaches and all of those people that are here to help others. And then the initiation is like to get those gifts out of you, but you've got to face this, right? You've got to face this pain first. And then on the other side of the portal, so this is the 51. The other side of the portal is this, right? So you've got the Chiron wound, but then you've got the wife that's helping you, the divine feminine that's helping you to feel safe and secure and loved to heal this wound. Okay, because remember, he couldn't heal it on his own, right? That was the whole deal with Chiron. He couldn't heal his own wound. He could heal other people, but he couldn't heal himself. Okay. Okay. So let me just see if there's any comments here. Okay. And then we'll go into the, okay, great. Um, yeah, there's breakups. It's musical chairs now with the relationship to just trust it. And it's going to get more and more intense. That's one of the other thing I forgot to share with you, right? Look at all those planets, big Pluto and Mars. Pluto and Mars are coming closer together. These are the explosive, right? I can't hold back my authenticity anymore, right? I can't hold back my truth. I can't mute myself anymore. It's just, you won't be able, you don't mess with Pluto, right? When that energy wants to come through, it's going to come through and to just trust it. It's all a blessing. It's all a blessing. Um, and about letting go, yeah. Okay. The personality, you mean in profile and Baines? Is the personality number first or the design? It's the personality always comes first, right? So this would be a 0.1. Maybe they've got a 0.6 on the design. If it were natal, then it's a 1.6, right? So that's how it is. So this would be the investigator role model. Uh, okay. Yes, liberating. Okay. So let's see if I want to say anything more about the collective, just what we can expect. So this is about just in the terms of the collective theme, right? Because it's in the 7. So this is the fear, right? So this is the fear of the other, right? So we're all going through this as a collective. It's all about our fear of relationships. You know, we've been ruled by the ego, right? We've been ruled by the ego. So we're going through an ego death because Chiron is in the sign of Aries. We're going through an ego death, right? Through our relationships. Our relationships are confronting us, basically. Our relationships are confronting us as a mirror, right? As a mirror. So it's not about if you're reacting to another person, it's not about them, it's about you, right? So this is what we're learning. And the ego doesn't want to hear that, right? The ego doesn't want to be confronted. It's uncomfortable, brings uncomfortable feelings. So we're learning about relationships. We're in the school of relationships. And we can't be disturbed by confrontation with people. So we're learning it's this diversity and unity, right? So we're coming together as a humanity. We're coming back in true relationships out of isolation, because you can be in relationships and still be isolated and withdrawn, not showing yourself, not showing your true self. But these relationships are confronting you, right? Are confronting you. So recognize the other person as you. That's the other sutra of the Aquarian age. Um, so this is what we're learning. Like even it will bring up old relationship dynamics with North Node Chiron here in the 7th house. So you may have written the story. We're all writing stories, right? So maybe you wrote the story while I was victimized in that relationship. They were so mean to me and they were this and they were that. And then now with this, because we're in this energy now, right? It's just going to intensify. Then you're coming into the frequency of other relationships that are showing you, oh, I wasn't a victim, right? I was the abuser, right? It takes two to slam dance. There were certain things that I did that were abusive to that other person. No, I wasn't taught. The ego wants you here. I was the victim and this happened to me, right? Well, this is what you'll realize with Chiron in the North Node here, right? Is like, oh, I had a part to play in this too, right? That we're both not victims and we're both not abusers, right? You're not one or the other. So this is also about facing conflict, right? So we have to learn to face conflict in relationship. So what you've got to learn is, and you may be avoiding conflict, right? Maybe you don't like conflict in relationship, and it's like there's conflict. I'm not into it. It's toxic. I'm leaving this energy. When this is natural. When you're in relationship, conflict is going to come up, right? It's just natural. It's part of the creative process. It's called friction. It's a law of friction. Whenever creativity is emerging and we're all creative beings, we're going to experience friction, right? Any creative project that's produced, there's friction involved. So this is about learning to stay in the room. That's what I say to people. Stay in the room, commit to the process. This conflict will definitely and absolutely dissolve into something greater, right? The relationship is greater than the sum of its parts. So it's about staying in the room and being okay with committing to okay, I'm going to move through this with this person. We're going to work this out, right? I'm committed, not going into the quick exit, right? Because we're used to like the comfortable, we want the easy way, we want the quick pill, right? But so we're learning that with Chiron in the North Node in our role in any conflict in relationship. If it's there, then there's something to learn, right? For all of us. Because Chiron wants us to come into balance with our relationship, So just a quick human design, if your solar plexus is open, that means it's undefined, then your not self will avoid confrontation and truth. Okay, that's your not self, because you're going to feel that other person's emotions, take it in, amplify it, send it back out. So just to be aware of that too, and that's your challenge though. I'm going to commit to working through this conflict with this person. And then what happens is an ego death, right? This Chiron in Aries is all about the ego. So it's about going through some kind of ego death and to not be judgmental, right? So this actually stops feeding the ego. The ego wants you focused. It's the other person that's making me feel this. If they would just do this, or if they just would say this, or they would just go away, I wouldn't have these uncomfortable feelings. And that's a lie by the ego, right? So do you see with the ego death? So now ego death isn't I got a big whack on the head and then my ego's gone. Ego is it's a slow departure, right? It's dissolving, right? We go through several ego deaths, several ego deaths in one lifetime, right? Okay. So how Charlaco can help, right? Because the 13 is about listening. Okay, so we're getting initiated into relationship. This is Aquarius. It's all going to be all about relationships. So we're getting initiated into a new form of relationships. Aquarius, rooted in friendship first, right? Rooted in friendship first. And then the solid foundation is built, the trust is built, and then we expand from that place, right? So the 13, right? The 13, which is inactivated, but that's what she's in, the 13 here, is this is about listening, right? And what are you listening to? The fifth house. You're listening to your own self, right? This is loving yourself. I'm listening to my own self. I'm loving myself, right? I'm loving myself unconditionally. I'm taking pleasure in this relationship. I'm having fun. I'm happy, right? Self node, self node here, and this wound has been all the baggage that we have from our past relationships. We've all been hurt. We've all been in karmic relationships. We've all been hurt. We've all had our hearts broken, right? And now it's all about bringing the joy back into our relationship and having fun, right? And having fun and taking pleasure with one another. So I've got a friend, right? A good friend, and she likes to talk about the war, right? She likes to talk about the war. So we get into conflict, right? When we talk about the war, I don't want to talk about it, right? Because we're so different, right? In terms of our perspective on on war. So, well, what do you do? Right? The South Node would be like, screw her. I'm not going to talk to her anymore. Throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? But it's like, no, I enjoy the other parts of our relationship. So I've just spoken up and said, no, I don't want to talk about this with you. And it's fine. We don't talk about this particular thing, right? So this is all about having fun in relationships. If there's something, agree to disagree. If there's an impasse, there's an impasse, right? But you don't just walk away from your relationships, and people are so quick to do that. Okay, so you want to write a news story. You want to be playful in your relationship, and the ego doesn't like that. The ego wants conflict, 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 and fighting. So this is about spontaneous expression, feeling like you can be yourself in relationship. Those are the people you want to be around. Um, and the great thing too is Saturn is moving farther and farther away from Aquarius, and Saturn's like the wet blanket, right? Everything's so serious and karmic, and Saturn's walking away. Um, and then this relates to the Six of Cups, if you know the tarot, the Six of Cups, and that's our innocence, right? Back when we were children, right? When children and relating to one another. So this is about, playful, bringing that play back into your relationships, into your life. And this is self-love. So it's going to take a little bit of training. Okay, we're in a new world. We're in a new world. To remind yourself, we're in this new energy. I can let go. I can finally just relax, take down my guard, put my dukes down. I don't have to be fighting with everybody and defensive, right? Everything's changed. Okay, so that's the collective, what we're going through here. Okay. So let's go to the types. Okay. The types. So this is the MGs and the generators and the projectors and the manifestors and then the reflectors. I don't know what happened to the reflectors. I don't know here. But I'll go through each one here. Okay. In terms of this Chiron conjunction to the North Node. Okay. So if we go to the generator, um, here, so this is 35% of the planet. This is most of the planet, the MGs and the Gs. They're 70%, the aura type. So they have an open and enveloping aura. They're here to respond. When they don't operate correctly and they listen to their mind instead of their sacral, they can feel frustrated. But when they're operating correctly, living as themselves, they can feel fulfilled, right? So that's what they want. They want to use that energy correctly. And this is the sacral right here. So this is always colored in if it's a generator. Okay. So we've got the 51, right? The 51 here in Chiron. And then we'll look at her too. So if we go to, let's see, if we go to, let's do a Cancer. Cancer rising, sun or moon. So this relates to you too. If you're another type, you can listen to this, but this is really for the Cancer, rising, sun, moon generators. Okay, so this is going to be happening. Remember, it's an ego death, right? It's an ego death right here, ego death. And so this is going to take place in the 10th, the 10th house, right? The ego death takes place in the 10th house. So generators, you could be overly identified with your career or your status, right? Your public persona, right? The ego's got you there, right? So remember, with any identification comes with a script, comes with rules and regulations, right? This is the 10th house, comes with rules and regulations. I can't say this, I can't act that way. I'm a public figure, right? So this completely takes you away from your authenticity. So this could be representing your father or your mother. Okay, so your father or your mother. So father may have been MIA, right? So missing in action. Your father just took off or passed away, something, right? As a generator. But this can also represent your mother, right? So the 10th house is about her. It's about her. Let's go back, right? Like how this caught, just an example, a quick example of how this Chiron moon can work. So your mother had her own ambitions, right? She had her own goals. She had her own way of presenting herself to the public, right? So you've taken this on. So you've taken this on unconsciously because we even in the womb we take on all those patterns when we're in the womb those first 9 months. And so this could where this identification. Well, Chiron is going to say no. You can't be identified in this way anymore, right? So the wound comes up, but the wound's coming back, goes back to the mother, right? So I disappointed my mother growing up. She was always disappointed in me because she was projecting her own ambitions, her own life goals, and trying to live vicariously through me. And I continually disappointed her. Like, let's just use an example here. So I disappointed her. So that's the Chiron wound. And then let's bring it into your adulthood. Well, I always seem to have confrontations with my boss, right? With my boss or supervisor or somebody that even your partner, you can put in this role, in the 10th house role. I have these confrontations, right? I'm getting reprimanded, right? Even with getting a bunch of parking tickets or speeding tickets, it can work like that too. I'm disappointing these authority figures. I'm getting sick, and then I have to shirk on my responsibilities, and I'm disappointing more people, right? My reputation, and then the wound, in the wound, right, starts to come up, which is like I wasn't loved, right? Basically, that's what the wound was. I wasn't loved for who I was. It was for what I did, right? I did really well in school. I got the straight A's, and then I got the pat on the back, right? Or you get the you should have done better talk from your parent, right? So things could be collapsing in your career world, but it will bring up this wound, right? So it's the disappointment, but it goes back to your mother or your father, right? That's where the wound goes back. And it's really failure. At the root of it is Chiron wants you to feel this failure, like I'm a failure. And Chiron will keep keep bringing this to you, bringing these situations to you so that you can finally feel, right? You can finally feel this. So you've got to look at like, why, why am I in this profession? Is this my true soul purpose? Because that's what Chiron wants you, your true soul purpose. Is this my true soul purpose, or am I unconsciously trying to please my mother or my father to get their love? Right? Just as simple as that. Um, so the medicine, so the initiation with Chiron wants you to be initiated into your true soul purpose. Right? So if you're experiencing this in your life, then look deeply at why am I doing what I'm doing as a career? Is it my soul's calling? Or am I secretly trying to please somebody? And this goes really, really deep. But Chiron will bring up those uncomfortable wounds for you to feel. And then you'll know, okay, my Chiron wound is up right now as a generator. And Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon. So what's your medicine? Let's go to the wife. What does she say? Well, she's in the eighth house, right? She's in the eighth house. And what is she saying? In Aquarius. Yeah. And what is she saying? She's saying that it's time to listen, right? This is all about listening, the 13, to the call, to the call. And what's the call? Is to finally deal with this trauma, right? Finally deal with this childhood trauma, right? Instead of like being forced into it, shocked into it, because you're not going to be able to get away with this. You can't live as your not self, not with Pluto and Aquarius, right? This is about I'm going to volunteer, right? I'm not going to go kicking and screaming. I'm not going to do the 2x4 method in my life. I'm going to volunteer. It's time for me to deal with this trauma. Um, and this is about healing your past wounds, right? And trauma and not hiding behind your identity, your career identity, not hiding. It's about vulnerability, right? The 10th house is about like I'm in control, right? I can't control anything else, but I can control my work. I feel like I'm in control of my work. And then this is all starting to collapse, right? Because Chiron is calling you to your true soul purpose. So this is about getting vulnerable. It's about learning about the occult, learning about the energies that you can't control. That's the eighth house. And it's all about being compassionate with yourself, right? Compassionate with yourself during this time. Because when we do the Chiron wound, it's a tender area, right? So this is volunteering for the dark night of the soul. I'm ready. That's like a big, ego death. This is like 5 ego deaths. The dark night of the soul. It goes to the core of your ego generator. Okay. So all you do is you respond right now, right? It's all about being in the now moment. You go into your sacral and you're listening to Michael's words. Okay, I'm going to ask you, are you ready to face your deepest wound? And then you go to your sacral and you listen for the yes or the no. And that's what you obey as a generator, right? Your yes or no, that you're ready. You're ready to face this. And you've got full support, right? Full support. So check out the online retreat, right? We're going to be going into this place. Now, if you took my last two retreats, the death and dying and the authenticity one, I just want to reassure people because it was quite intense, right? Is that this will be firm but gentle too, because we're really moving into some tender areas. And I'm going to have more of support following the retreat, especially with this wound, right? So yeah, keep your eyes open for that. So just to let you know, that'll be a bit more gentle. Like I really listen to your feedback too, generators. Okay. So anything else to say about that? With the generators. Yeah. I guess the only thing that I would add is your mind, right? Which is your ego, is to not listen to this. This is the not self that does not want you walking through generator, does not want you walking through this portal, right? Your ego and your mind will do everything to keep you from this, but this is what's on the other side, right? Your true soul purpose, right? To live as yourself and to let this baggage go of your relationship with your mother or your father. And a lot of people, don't shame yourself about it. There's a lot of people that live their lives like for others, for their parents. Even their parents may be long dead and gone, and they're in their 60s and 70s, and they're still trying to unconsciously please mom and dad, right? So just to look at that. Okay, so let's go to the MGs, manifesting generators. So they're 35% right here of the world. Okay. And so let's go for Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. You guys listen to this too. Okay. So we've got the conjunction happening, and that's happening in your sixth house. So this is about your body, MJs, right? So this transit, it's been about your body. So remember that Chiron entered here in 2018. So you've been working on this since. And so Chiron is calling you, right? It's calling you out to your spiritual journey, and it's calling you through your wounding, your wounding. So this is the illness, MGs, like, oh, I've manifested this illness, right? And then that seems to heal, and I seem to manage that. And then another one pops up, another illness. It's like whack-a-mole. And then, right, that goes away. And then boom, that first illness pops up, and it's getting more and more frustrating, right? For you. Um, so what is this showing you? The illness, well, it's rooted in your emotions. It's your emotions trying to express themselves, right? So remember, emotion is just energy in motion. So it's trying to express itself through your body to get your attention. So remember with Chiron, Chiron cannot heal himself. And there it is in the sixth house. So you may be a gifted healer yourself, maybe a life coach, a teacher, right? Working in the health field. And it's like, wow, I'm so good at helping others transcend their physical ailments, but here I am, I can't heal myself, right? Like what's going on? Well, this is Chiron calling you to your spiritual journey, right? So also with the sixth house too, there can be perfectionism. So there may be some unconscious beliefs here that you have to be perfect, right? That you have to be perfect because it's a Virgo house, right? The sixth house is a Virgo. So to watch that, like my body has to be perfect. You could get like a little bit obsessed with your body. You know how we get what is it called? Dysmorphia. I think it's called dysmorphia. When you look in the mirror and then you see that little black head or a zit or something, and this tiny little thing that's unnoticeable to anybody else turns into this mountain. So that would be Chiron, like just like picking at yourself, right? Like self-critical and judgmental of yourself and your body. So there's an ego death that's happening here, right? Ego death here with this placement, and it's all about your attachment and your identification with your body and your role as a healer. I'm the healer, right? I'm the healer. So over attachment to the body. Um, so the other thing too is your relationships, because it's the sixth house, right? And we're on the relationship theme. So sixth house is unequal relationships. Unequal relationships. So you feel this inequality in your relationship. Chiron could be bringing this up to your attention, right? Maybe you've been in these kinds of relationships for a long time, MGs, but you haven't realized it, but now you see it. It's like, oh, I feel it's either or. I'm either the servant, the inferior one, right? I'm either the inferior one or I'm the superior one. And I flip-flop back and forth, right? One of my relationships plays the superior, I play the inferior. They know more than I do. I don't know as much as they do, like that kind of game. And this isn't going to last either. So this is going to bring up more wounding about I'm not good enough, right? I'm not good enough. Those types of feelings like self-hatred, self-loathing, but it's really going to get played out in your body. So it's really about a rejection. It's a rejection. That's what you're doing is you're rejecting your body. That's imperfect. Remember Chiron, that was his first wound, was his mother. His mother rejected him. He was a half horse, half man, right? He was a monster to her. So this is rejecting the parts of my body that I don't like, the parts of myself that I don't like, the parts of myself, maybe that part, that unequal partnership he doesn't like about me. I'm rejecting that. This can bring up a lot of wounding, a lot of uncomfortable feelings, right? It's moving through your sixth house. So what's happening here is Chiron is calling you, the 51, to be initiated. There's an initiation taking place for you, and that's probably around healing, right? So listening, let's go around healing. Maybe a new healing modality wants to come through you. Some ancient healing gifts that you come in from past lives wants to awaken in you, but it's coming through your body. And it's like you can't go on like you're doing, especially if you're like, I am a healer, right? No, the truth is the healing is not you doing the healing. It's not the ego doing the healing. It's the healing that's the healing energy that's moving through you. You're a conduit for the healing energy. And the great thing to work with the ego is you don't blame, right? And don't claim. I'm a great healer. Oh, I'm horrible. I wasn't able to heal that person. And this brings ego death. That's what you want in the sixth house. That's what Chiron wants you to do. Wants you to get rid of this ego, right? Dissolve this ego slowly, slowly. And Chiron faces us to forces us to surrender to wherever that Chiron wound is coming up. So let's go to Chiron's wife, Charlico, right here. This is the divine feminine, right? And then there's the divine masculine here, Chiron, the divine feminine. She was the one who healed Chiron, right? So she's in the 13, right? So Chiron is time that Chiron says, manifesting generator, it's time for you to jump through the portal. That's your wound, right? That's your wound. That's the alarm clock that's calling you. It's time for you to jump in there to get to the other side. This is initiation. But it's like, how do I do that? How do I face that? Because Chiron wasn't able to heal himself, right? MG. So, but Chiron had his wife, and she was discovered in 1977 for him, and then 1997 for her. And this is who healed Chiron. Okay. So, what this shows you, right? This is empathy. It's the gift of empathy, right? It's about listening. Not with your two ears, but your whole body. And what are you listening to? Your fourth house. This is your emotions, right? This is your emotions. This is your mother, right? Right here. So we inherit, like I said, in the generators, we inherit a lot of patterns in the womb. We inherit all our mother's subconscious fears. So she may have had body issues herself, right? That you've inherited, that you've inherited and that you're here to transmute. So, right. So this is getting in touch with that, listening and having empathy, unconditional love for your mother, holding that space for your mother, and then having unconditional love for yourself in your early family life. That's the fourth house, right? And allowing these emotions to surface. So MGs love to be busy, right? That would be the sixth house thing too. I'm busy, 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 doing. I'm productive. I've got my 50,000 things, my to-do list, and I'm ticking them off, tick, tick, tick. At the end of the night, I'm like exhausted, maybe not good kind of exhaustion because I haven't been present, right? So a good way to judge your day, evaluate your day, is how present was I today? Not what did I do, it's how present was I today? This is the new Pluto and Aquarius energy, right? So this busy, busy, busy. Well, there's no room for the divine, right? The divine healing energy to move through you if you're so busy. And this is in your head, right? Worrying and fretting and all that stuff. So this is saying to stop. It's time to stop and take your time. This is for all MGs, right? Take your time. Connect to your real mother, which is Mother Earth, right? And how we connect with Mother Earth and nature is we slow down. We slow down. We're not in our heads thinking. So, and having compassion for yourself. And it's like allowing a space. I'm going to allow a space. I'm going to stop and I'm just allowing a space and I'm giving myself permission to have those deeper emotions to come up and to surface so that I can feel them, right? And let them go. And this is how you deal with your physical wounds. And then it's like, what? Right? Pluto and Capricorn as well. I've got this, right? I've got this problem, right? I've got this problem that won't go away, right? Well, then I go to a doctor. That's Capricorn. I go to a doctor, I go to an expert, and they tell me what's wrong, and then they fix it, right? That's not going to work anymore with Pluto and Aquarius. That will not work anymore, right? It's not so linear because what it is, it's like a warning light. Your body is like a warning light. Whatever thing you're going through in your physical body, it's the warning light that's going off and it's calling you to go deep, right? Go deeper than the surface and then get to the root of it. And it's like, oh, okay. I go to the root. Well, go to your fourth house, go to your mother, go to your emotions, go to your inner child, right? Have a space there. And then suddenly you'll be so shocked and surprised. Oh, the physical ailments disappeared, right? That's right. So this is Aquarius. It's whatever it looks like, right? And with your own two eyes, you're not seeing the whole picture. Aquarius is I'm seeing the deeper root, the whole picture here, right? Okay. What else for the MGs here? And the empathy. And I mean the initiation. It's like this is going to make you a better healer. Sixth house, right? Whatever healing you're doing. Maybe you don't have your shingle out, but maybe you're the healer in your family, right? Maybe you're like healing in other different ways that are not so out there, invisible, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, that's it. I think that's it for the MGs. Okay, so let's go for the manifestors here. And what do we want to say about the manifestors? Let's see what we got here. Okay. Um, just see here. A little die here. Let's go for the manifestors. Okay. So we got Aquarius for the manifestors. So Aquarius. So they've got the closed and repelling aura. and they're here to inform, right? Share, and then initiate. And they, when they're not operating correctly and they're trying to be a generator and they're responding to life and they're not initiating projects and things, then they feel anger, right? And then they want to feel peace here. Okay. So Aquarius. So that's the opposite. Okay. Right? Yeah. Aquarius. Aquarius is the conjunction here. So the 51. And then Aquarius. Aquarius 1, 2. And Aries. It's 1, 2, 3. It's in the third house. Sorry about that. My mind just glitched. Okay. And then she's in the third house. No, he's in the third house. She's in the first house. Okay. Um, okay, so the conjunction here is in the third house. So there could be wounding here around communication. Manifestors. So this is about communication. It's about your thinking, right? It's about your thinking right here. So you're thinking. There could be wounding too around your siblings. Is the Chiron, the third house rules siblings, but mostly your thinking. That's what I see here is your thinking, your negative thinking. Okay. So this could be what will go wrong, right? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the 51, right? These horrible things are going to happen to me. This is how your mind goes. It goes directly to negative thinking. Yeah. Well, that won't work. Maybe you got the divine download and then your mind is kicking in. And it's like, oh, that won't work because blah, 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 blah. And so then you're in this mind that just won't shut up, right? It's go, 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 go. It doesn't stop, right? So this is when the manifestors would be going to listening to their mind, and which is the problem, and like go and, you know, do drugs or take alcohol or do something to stop this mind, right? But this is bringing up this Chiron wound, right? In the third house, So what I noticed with my own mind is when it starts to really get negative, like really, really negative. It's rare now, but it's so painful when it happens so I understand what you're going through. Is 10 times out of 10, there's deeper emotions, right? There's deeper emotions that are wanting to surface and to be seen and to be exposed, right? So that's always a sign for me. So again, like the manifesting generators, I would say to stop, right? To stop whatever you're doing, like being busy or distracted or whatever, find some alone time because manifestors need alone time, right? And just give yourself permission to, I'm going to commit, right? I'm going to commit to feel, right? I'm going to commit to feel, and I'm going to let these deeper emotions surface, and they're coming from your first house, right? Well, your first house is going to help you, and that's about you, right? That's about you. So this is having empathy for yourself, right? This is all about listening to yourself, right? And is that mind with all the negative thinking, is that you? No, that's not you. That's not you, right? So this is the 13, and the 13 is about discernment, manifestors. So you can discern that that's not me. Those are just negative thoughts. This is me. These negative thoughts are trying to prevent these deeper emotions to come up to be felt. I'm going to bring 100% unconditional love to myself to myself. I'm going to listen to myself, right? I'm going to listen to myself, my deeper self. I'm going to listen to that. I'm not going to listen to my mind. I'm not going to listen to my siblings. I'm not going to listen to people around my community. That's third house too. I'm going to commit to listen to myself, right? So there's the wounding, right? The wounding, it's kind of, third house, it's early your developmental stage, like when you went to school and stuff. So there could be shame around that, right? Coming up to be transmuted. You as a student, right? The pressure on you to be a good student, whatever that is, right? But it's around your thinking. And what Chiron wants is to initiate you into new ways of thinking, right? New ways of thinking, new ideas, right? Innovative, right? Innovative ideas right there. And you've got unconditional love. Charlico right there helping you out, saying to listen to yourself, love yourself unconditionally, right? And let go. Don't identify with these thoughts. You're identified. It's the ego death. You're identified with your thoughts. And Chiron wants to break you out of that. Okay. What else about manifestors? Oh, and once the noisy head stops, because that's what happens when you actually stop and feel, because when you start to feel unconditional love for yourself, everything that's not unconditional love, it comes up to the surface, right? To leave, to be transmuted. So this, after this, you've got your big release, right? You have your cry. And then this noisy mind starts to lessen in volume. It gets quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. That's how it works, right? And that means your divine inspiration, there's going to be a clearer channel to come through, right? With these new ideas that you're going to share and then initiate it on, right? Yeah. But your mind is your greatest, well, for everybody, but in this particular placement, it's your greatest enemy. Okay. And this is for the Aquarius sun, moon, and rising as well. Okay. Okay. So let's go to for the projector. So 20% of the world here for the projectors. And so let's go for Leo. Leo, sun, moon, or rising for the projectors. So 20% of the world are projectors. They're the new leaders. They've got the focused and absorbing aura. They're here to be recognized, then invited. And when they operate correctly, they feel successful. And when they don't, they're bitter, 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 bitter. So let's look at where Chiron's playing out here is your ninth house, right? Yeah, ninth house. Okay. So that's Chiron is 9. And then she is in 7. Okay. So ninth house, this is about the expansion of your mind. It's your right mind. This is your intuitive mind. This is your feminine part of your brain, right? Um, so with this, the Chiron wound that can be coming up here for the projectors is religion, right? The ninth house rules religion. So with Chiron, we're not always just talking about this lifetime, we're talking about past lives as well, right? So this is the dogma, right? Dogma that comes with religious beliefs, your religious beliefs. So maybe they're coming up, right? Your religious beliefs are coming up since 2018. As a projector, this is persecution. This is a signature for persecution. Um, when you spoke the truth, when you spoke the truth, persecution. So there can be fear of this, especially with the projectors. They've been kind of hiding out. The projectors have been hiding out, and now they're being called, right? With 2024 and 2027 coming closer and closer, the projectors are being called out, they're being seen. It's time to reconnect with the world in a greater sense of the world word. So, but then we can come to this persecution, this fear of being persecuted for being visible in your power. And also, I did mention that Charlico, the wife of Chiron, she gives birth to the truth tellers, right? So these are the people that speak the truth, no, when nobody wants to hear it. And what happened to truth tellers in our history? They get persecuted, right? So there can be the fear of that coming up for the projector here. Um, and this is like feeling like a foreigner. Maybe you're living in your country of birth, but you've always felt like an outsider, a foreigner, because you're a bit different. You've always been different, especially as a projector. Um, so also not feeling like, people were persecuted in the past for their religious beliefs, right? Your beliefs are too out there, too out there. So all it takes is, right, Chiron, rejection, rejection by the other, and it can bring up this wound. Well, I can't share this, or they'll think I'm crazy if I say this. I better not. And then you're not in your authenticity and you're not in your power, especially if you've been invited to speak the truth, right? You've been invited to give your point of view and your perspective on something, and you're holding yourself back. Well, I can't say that because this old Chiron wound's coming up, right? I can't, it's too out there. People think I'm crazy. They'll turn me in. This is what happened to us in the past. They'll turn me in. I'll be, on the cross getting burned or killed or maimed or um, thrown in solitude, whatever they did, right, back then. So, so there's a danger here, right? There's a danger here. So this is coming up, right? This is coming up. So there can be a lot of fear with this Chiron wound that's coming up. A lot of fear that's coming up to be cleared, and it's old. It's old fear. And you may have manifested that in your family, like you're the black sheep, right? And getting that ridicule and persecuted, not like in the literal sense of the word, but persecuted in terms of ostracized from your family, you know? She's too out there, right? She's too out. Are you going to do your crazy talk today? Like that shaming, right? That shaming because they don't understand. So this can come up too. This is deep, right? The ninth house, because it's connected to our past religious background. So this could be if you're in the a projector and you're kind of in the spiritual realm, and especially if you're watching this channel, then you're going to be spiritual because that's what I am. Um, the spiritual realm, then you can be this is about identification, right? An ego death. So you can have an ego identification of what it means to be spiritual. What does it mean to be spiritual? Right? What does it mean, my relationship with the divine? Right? My relationship with the divine. The Chiron would come up too. Well, I've got to be doing God's work all the time. I've got to be a good person. I can never swear and cuss. I can never say this. I can never say that. I can only do this and I can only do that. It's all about dogma. And then the divine will love me. But the Chiron wound, if you go deeper into that, right, is that not feeling loved by God, not feeling accepted by God, right, as yourself, that you've got to prove yourself, right, to God. You got to be this crazy workaholic. There's another one that's the projector thing, right? So here you have this dogma and this ego identification, right? Maybe that I've got to prove myself and I've got to always be doing good deeds and right, always serving, always on the job, right? And then you've got your projector self, which is your authentic self, which is you don't have the energy. If you're a projector, you don't have that sacral energy. So you're exhausting yourself. And then you're like, but God, why are you bringing these people into my life that think I'm crazy and they won't listen to me? And right. And you're getting bitter and bitter and bitter and bitter. Well, because you're not living as yourself. You're not being your authentic self in this position. Um, so the gift here, right? Um, And also the other thing too, because it's inspiration, you can lose your inspiration. That's the Chiron wound too. Like, where's my inspiration? I'm filled with spirit, right? That's what inspiration is. I lose my inspiration. I lose my fire, right? In whatever I'm doing in my work, I'm losing my fire. I'm losing my inspiration. Um, I'm losing my optimism, right? I'm not optimistic. I'm pessimistic about my life. This is the Chiron um, wound that's coming up to be seen. And it's to bring you into balance, right? It's about bringing you into balance. Chiron wants you in balance here, right? And to let go of this ego identification. So the gift here, projectors, is about initiation, right? So this means that Chiron wants you to be a visionary. So again, it's like the manifestors to stop this script in your head that says you have to do this and you have to act this way and you can't do this and you can't do that and all the rules, to let all that go so that the visions can come, right? Ninth house is downloads, downloads. And this is Uranus too, right? Pluto and Aquarius, more and more downloads, visionary for the future. You've got that focused and absorbing aura, focused on the future, right? The visionaries. Vision, being able to have visions of different dimensions, right? So this could be an initiation into to be a true spiritual leader, right? Not rooted in religion, right? A true spiritual leader, um, and a spiritual teacher too. Okay. And this is about two, because she is the 13, right? Is Charlico, that's the wife of Chiron. She's the divine feminine. And where she's showing up to help you heal this wound in the ninth house, your religious beliefs that you have to let go of, is she's in the seventh house. So these are your people, these are other people. These could be your students, your clients, right? And what she's saying here is to listen to listen to other people, listen to students, even if they don't seem like they're spiritual, because the ninth house is all like, I want meaning, I want depth. This is like listening deeply to other people and realizing that the divine works through everyone, right? The divine works through everyone in this present moment, in this present moment. So instead of like searching, right? Searching for the divine outside of you through knowledge and workshops and other people, right? Accumulating more and more knowledge. That's what projectors does. We just realize that it's everywhere, but it's coming from inside you. So you stop looking, you stop seeking, and you go deeper inside you. And then you really realize that the divine is everywhere, right? So this is about listening to other people, having empathy for other people, no matter who they are, because the divine is bringing them to you, right? And if they invite you, then showtime, right? You're right there. I'm deeply listening to that person. My aura is completely focused on their G center, and I'm going to help them and guide them because that's what I'm designed to do, right? So not turning people away and getting all judgmental. That's the ninth house, right? There's no hope for them. You don't know who's on the path and who's not. Some of the people I've been completely surprised by. I never thought in a million years they'd walk off the path, and they did. And then there's others that they joined on the path, and I never thought they would, right? Um, so remember through people that the divine is trying to reach you through people. So Charlico is saying Just have empathy for everyone that comes to you, and really, really listen beyond the words, right? And really, really get efficient with your energy. That's what I want to say with projectors. Um, but this is students, this is people, this is the other, right? The other. Okay. Anything else for the projectors for this Chiron? Yeah. Just trust, right? Just trust that, because some projectors can be like, I don't want the responsibility, or what if I tell them the wrong thing? It's just to trust the energy that's moving through you. You just have to be present, right? You have to be present, and then the words are just there, right? It doesn't have to be this hard, arduous thing. Okay. So that's the projectors. And then let's finish it off with the reflectors. Okay. So the reflectors. So this is only 1% of the world, the reflectors. And so they're here, they have the resistant and sampling aura. And I always love to hear from the reflectors, and put down your zodiac too. I want to know that, reflectors. So you're the follow the moon cycles, and you don't want to be disappointed. That's when you make your decisions and you don't follow through. You don't go through the process of the moon, right? So you want to be surprised, and your environment is everything. What environment you're in is everything. That's the most important thing for the reflector. So reflectors, if you're a good reflector, you listen to this whole video. If you're a good reflector, because you're interested in the program, and that's what I'm describing as the program. So I'm talking about the North Node conjunction with Chiron that's coming up. Okay. So so with the reflector, how this plays out here. So let's go for Pisces. Let's go for Pisces. So you've got the ego death, this conjunction, because this conjunction is all about an ego death. And remember, it's not a a bop on the head and then the ego is gone. It's a slow ride. It's a dissolution of the ego. And I imagine it's because we have to be prepared for this, right? That it would be too overwhelming to have like the one bop ego gone if your environment inside is not sattvic. Okay, so ego death is in the second house. In the second house. This is Pisces Sun, Moon, or Rising as well, too, to listen to this. Okay. And then Charlico is in your 12th, your 12th house. Okay. And that's Chiron's wife. Okay. So this is about your material possessions, reflectors, your material, your house, your money, right? All your furniture, your car, all that stuff. So this Chiron wound can bring up a lack of self-worth, right? A lack of self-worth. So the Chiron wound, remember, wherever Chiron is transiting, it's going to bring lessons. So what it will do is it will take away your material possessions, you know, or they become you risk losing them. And it's all in order to bring up this wound, right? Of lack of self-worth and self-value, right? This feeling of insecurity, right? Because the not self, the ego, is identified with your second house, and then you accumulate material things. And it's like, look, the ego is, look, we're secure, right? I have things, I exist. The ego just wants to exist. I exist. Look at the things around me. I'm safe, I'm secure. But you never feel safe. You never ever had felt safe, right? So this is it's not the material things, kind of kept them at bay, kept the this ego death at bay. But now Chiron is calling you. So if that's happening to you, take that as a call. The Chiron's calling you to initiate, to start you on a new path, right? Um, so attaching, just over attached to your material things. Of course, we need some food, shelter, clothing, right? Are basic, and some more, but this is like overly attached, right? And also your body can feel insecure. Maybe you're going through some health stuff too, like the MGs, right? I'm feeling insecure in my body. I'm having problems with my body. It's the second house, right? Taurus rules the second house. Um, you may treat your body like an enemy, right? Your body's acting up. It's an enemy. It's not on my side. This can bring up this Chiron wound too, right? And it's all about self-worth. That's the root of it. Um, or the other thing too, maybe your caretakers, your mother or your father, they value material things over you, right? Maybe they value the material things over you. So that will bring up that wound, right? When your stuff starts disappearing or you don't know where you're going to get new stuff. Um, okay. So with the second house, the initiation for the reflectors is to trust your body. Trust your body and the instincts of your body. That's what you can really trust. That's your greatest material possession is your own physical form, right? Right there. So to trust the wisdom of your body, trust the instincts of your body, and then you'll be able to be initiated and to be able to reflect, right? The other types, their self-value and their self-worth. You'll be able to teach them about the wisdom of their body and their instincts, but you'll also be able to teach them about rhythm. The reflectors are really good at that because they've got to follow the rhythms of the moon. And what does the moon teach us? That everything comes and goes. It's waxing and waning. Things are there, things are not, things are there, things are not. The ebb and flow, right? Of the material world. So you're able to be initiated into that, but you got to let go of this ego that's attached to things. I don't want it to go. I don't want it to go because I fear what will happen to me in the future, the self node, right? But Charlico is helping you to release the self node. It's trying the self node. Charlico is like, let this go, let this go with unconditional love. And it's in the 12th house, right? She's in the 12th house. And she's saying to trust in the divine, trust in the divine. That's your true security is the divine, the unseen, right? The unseen realms. So also Charlico says to listen. Remember, it's about listening. Listening to your dreams, your imagination. Yeah. Allowing yourself to imagine your visions, what visions you're having. Uh, it's also about solitude and retreat, and reflectors have to go on retreats, you know? It doesn't have to mean that you go somewhere, but you maybe have a staycation or like just a home. You're in your home and you're having a little retreat where you're just by yourself. Get out your journal and allow yourself to dream and to imagine and have visions. And this is going to really help with healing this Chiron in the second house. And also to have compassion, right? The 12th house is about having compassion for yourself, not going into victimization, like I'm having compassion for myself, compassion for others, especially if it involves others, right? When in terms of your material, it seems like others are taking away my material, right? It's like having compassion for them because this wants to be released so that you can be initiated into the new. Okay, so that's what I have. And this one's been a little bit longer, eh? I had a lot to say. Let me just see here. Okay. Okay. So that's what I have. So keep in mind my online retreat and go into your strategy and your authority to see if this is correct for you, responding with a yes or no to come to this deep experience, because this is what we need. We need experiences now, right? Not just information. You need an experience, and this is what this online retreat provides for you in a tight container so that ego death can happen, right? The slow ego death. And then this goes deep, really deep into your natal. Like that's the bullseye that you have to work on in this lifetime that's been passed down from other lifetimes too. Okay, so respond with the yes or no, G's and MG's. I'm inviting the projectors, and then I've shared all this information so the manifestors can initiate and make it all happen. Okay, but there's more information on my website if you want to check that out. And I've done a little intro video too, so that you can have a look at that too. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Okay, and happy new moon tomorrow. This is like liftoff time, so it's very exciting. It's good. This is good. Good energy. Okay. Satnam aloha, everybody. Bye bye.